How would you like to grow your business the easy way, and in my humble opinion, the fun way, through speaking? Yes, you can literally speak your way to more business, and we can show you how. When I started my coaching business 15 years ago, I struggled making only $900 in the first 2 years. Yeah, you heard that right. Less than $1,000 in 2 years. The problem? I was busy running around to networking events and handing out business cards, trying to help everyone, everyone. Then I took the stage for the first time in my life and began speaking and teaching about the strategies I coached on. And when I really got my message dialed in, my business went literally from 3 figures a year to 7 figures. The secret I finally realized is that when you take the stage, you instantly become seen as the leading voice in your niche or industry. Today, we show entrepreneurs just like you and just like I was how to dominate your niche by becoming the leading voice, not just another expert. We run an incredible business mastermind speaker training program. It's called The Leading Voice. You guessed it. If you head over to leadingvoiceplatform.com/podcast and grab my free roadmap, 8 Pillars to Profitable Speaking. This free roadmap outlines the exact 8 secret weapons you need to truly become the leading voice in your niche. This is exclusively for my podcast listeners. You go to leadingvoiceplatform.com/podcast and start speaking your way to more business.
Speaking of getting booked, this podcast is about one thing:
getting booked to speak more. Whether you are an established speaker or a newbie, we want to see your career take off.
Hundreds of speakers are hired every single day.
And you are next.
Let's jump in with your host, Matt Browning.
Hey, welcome back to Speaking of Getting Booked. This is, of course, the show for speakers, whether you're a seasoned vet or whether you're a newbie speaker, keynote platform, or just trying to figure it out. If you're an author, coach, consultant, and you're wanting to speak and grow your business, that's what we're doing here. And every single week, I bring on someone who knows what they're doing in the speaking business. We're always bringing on people that are, chapter presidents, association chairs for different organizations that run platforms that speakers like me and you want to get on and do more speaking with, as well as meeting planners. And I also bring on keynote speakers. This week, I have a really special guest, someone who is just has become so near and dear to me. She's like a second mother, although she's only 29 and a half, I think she said. This is Carol Soloway. She is the author of the new book, Gracie's Gone. Excited because this is not a personal development book. It's one of the first books we've plugged in the podcast that is not personal development. It is a really cool novel. And yours truly, Matt Browning, I am featured in the novel. I get to play a police officer. I can't wait to hear how that came about. Carol has received the Woman of Achievement Award, very prestigious. You've seen her on Good Morning Arizona as well as Fox TV, and she's been a professional consultant on the Judge Judy Show, live on TV there. She speaks all over for places like eWomen Network, for AT&T, and she's the president of the Orange County chapter for the International Association of Women, meeting every single month and putting on speakers like us. She's had clients like Marie Osmond, Lisa Nichols from The Secret, the whole cast of Jesus Christ Superstar, The Sound of Music, and many others, all through the Orange County Performing Arts Center. Lives in Southern California with her husband, who, as she says, is nothing like any of the men in her books. Dr. Carol, welcome to the show. How are you?
I am excellent.
I'm so excited.
Officer Browning.
Officer Braun. I saw the, what did you put afterwards? I saw the second picture that said with the piercing blue eyes or something. I laughed out loud. I couldn't believe it.
Yep.
Honored to show up in that book. So let's talk speaking a little bit. I'd love to pick your brain. You are very accomplished, obviously, in all things. We ran up and did a show together up in Los Angeles a few months back, and on the way up and on the way back, we talked about trading, kind of secrets and things about getting booked on TV, on stages. So first thing I want to ask you is, you decided as you're launching this new book, Gracie's Gone, phenomenal novel. You guys should get it. I think the ebook is still only $1.99 on Amazon. You already hit #1 bestseller, but the launch price I think is still up. So check it out. You can also get paperback, of course. When you decided to launch the book, you wanted to do a tour. Tell me a little bit about your concept for the RV trip with your husband and how you're doing that. Very different than what I did for my book tour in August. So what are you looking at for a book tour, and why are you choosing to do it the way you're doing it?
We're choosing it the way our model is Colonel Sanders, who went in his car and went from restaurant to restaurant. So that was our model. If Colonel Sanders could sell chicken, fried chicken, maybe we could sell a book. But then it sort of took on a life of its own. This is my second RV tour because I did one with the first book that I published, Sex Happens. So
much more provocative title.
Yeah, it's a better title. But actually, well, this one, Gracie's Gone. If you saw, the cover, this cover is really gripping. Because the little 6-year-old girl who is abducted is on the cover. But what we decided to do was go across the country, and I got speaking engagements, and that's what I'm going to tell your listeners how I did it. And I got speaking engagements, and kind of it snowballed, and we're just going all the way across the country in an RV.
How long are you away from home for this?
Last time was 7 months, but this time...
Holy moly.
Well, I come back 1 week a month to keep my traditional qualified medical examiner business going. But this time we're only going for 4 months.
4 months. So you're doing a road trip for 4 months in an RV. And did it work like, were you able to book certain speaking, certain media appearances, and then you started kind of made a route around what you already had booked and then try to fill in gaps with other opportunities? Tell me a little bit about what's inside your mind of how you would plan a 4 month, because I think a lot of us, we love that idea, and if you have a reason and you're already on the road, you want to fill it in with more engagements. Did you set up a route based on what you had, and then you tried to fill in gaps with other opportunities? If so, how did you find them, and how did you start filling in those gaps? Or did you have a different strategy?
Definitely a different strategy, because an RV is kind of too large to do spontaneous appearances. A little too big. It takes a lot of planning. So what we did was we sat down and did our route. After that, I picked an organization. I picked eWomen and sent out letters to chapter presidents. They're called managing directors, asking if I could speak in their city at this particular time. I was not free. And that's what I'm also going to tell people. You've got to, if you don't hit everyone, that's okay, but you've got to make a roadmap and stick to it.
So you started with the roadmap first. So let's just say you said, okay, I'm going to be going through Arizona. Correct. So would you then, and I realize maybe specifically with eWomen, but there's Rotary clubs, and there's NSA, and there's all these different organizations, right?
Well, there's IAW, which I'm a president of the Orange County. So I also incorporate.
We're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
So if you want to go through Phoenix, let's say, would you hit up and go, okay, I'm going to say during these 3 days or during this week, we're going to be in Arizona. And then you'd hit up any of the organizations that are like Phoenix, Tucson, Scottsdale, Yuma, whatever? Or was it more specific? Tell me a little more detail, kind of how you, because for me, I feel like it would be really tough if I planned a route and said, hey, I'm going to be in Arizona this week or whatever it is. Many of them are going to come, oh, sorry, we're booked this month, or our meeting isn't until the last Thursday. How did you handle that? And what was your approach for the timing of things?
That's really critical. What I did was we, as I said, mapped out where we're going tentatively. Then I started going on the organization's site and seeing when their meetings were. Is their meeting the third Thursday? Is it the second Thursday? And if we happen to be in their city around that time, I sent them a letter. Now, a letter includes a speaker one sheet, which we can get into in a minute, but the speaking just was coincidental. What happened was one managing director read my book and called me and asked if I would speak. You need one little intro, one little success in a chapter.
You need an intro, don't you? And it's like, how many of them know each other? Have you noticed that?
That's what happened. They do, as I do as a president, they do contact each other. And there's a, how can I say this? A rating that they share with each other. That's what happens in every, organization that I've seen so far.
So is this like an internal rating where they say, hey, we had Carol come out and speak and I give her a 5-star or whatever the rating is, but like she's amazing, or yeah, that person came, they were okay. Or because if you're terrible, then like, okay, listen, would you potentially get blackballed too?
Yes.
And not technically blackballed, but for all intents and purposes, right? Because people have now spread the word that, hey, this speaker, they showed up late or they canceled on me or whatever it was. They were a prima donna. We'll do other shows where we're talking about all the terrible things to not do as a speaker. But you obviously had a great time. So you went out to one of them and spoke?
Well, the lady called me up and she said, she's in Hartford. I said, any other place in the U.S., I would have said no, but Hartford, my son lives there. How coincidental is that? And so I spoke there, and her feedback went to the other, when I started writing letters, the other ladies were saying, who is this person? Does anybody know her? And that was how I got booked so quickly, because I had one, all you need is one success. And
so when you finished Hartford, talk to us a little bit about when you spoke at Hartford, how active were you in trying to recruit? Did you then obviously connect with the managing director and say, listen, I'd love to speak at other chapters. Can you introduce me? Or was it sort of already viral in a way because you were so good and you're such a personable, amazing person?
Oh, you're so sweet.
No, I mean, anyone, if you spend more than 10 seconds around Carol, you're going to know two things about the world. You're going to know that you're the most important person in the universe. and you're going to know that life can only go up from here. And that's what I felt. And I was blessed with a pretty long car ride to and from that you blessed me with.
Oh,
and
LA blesses everybody with those.
And I looked at it as, this is really great because, we get to spend that much time together. But the reality is there is a piece of it where it's your personality. Now that we're done patting each other on the back, but it's like your personality, you're very likable. And how important was it, I think, what would you rate importance? Your content that you spoke about, B, how you were, who you were when you were there with the people, and C, the book itself and having a reason, for doing something. What was the most important thing that got you booked more?
Yeah, the most important, well, the start of it was the book that she had read, the first book. But I would say, I think I read a quote from Maya Angelou, and she said that it's not what you do for people, what you give them, it is how you make them feel.
That's right.
Not what you give them, what you tell them, what you do or what you tell them. It's how they feel. So I think at the end of my talk and at the end of any speaker talk, it's how the audience feels about themselves, actually, and how they've been inspired.
And how did you make them feel? What do you think is the emotion you might leave people when you do a speaking engagement regarding your book? Is there something you aim for as a speaker?
Yes, absolutely. My talk is one key to victory. In other words, you go to a seminar and you have 5 keys, and what was the second? What was one thing? One thing.
One key to victory.
Just one key. And so, you want to know what it is?
I kind of do.
You do? Okay. It is.
Well, if there's only one, we got time.
It is unshakable drive.
Wow.
That's all you need. And, to be willing to go, Churchill said this, from failure to failure with equal enthusiasm. And I leave them with the belief that they can do anything. And if they just have this drive, this belief in themselves, and that is, and I, do talk a little bit about my life, but it's mostly what we all need to do to be successful.
Man, I love that. So, so that's something I think we can take away too, is when you say like everything I just got from you, if I'm booking, what does a promoter think about you? What do they remember you as? Well, yeah, you're the novelist and you wrote Gracie's Gone, phenomenal fiction book to read. That's cool, but they're going to leave remembering, oh, she was about unshakable drive. It's really easy to remember that. One of my favorite interviews, aside from you, of course.
Of course.
And I think we have him. He'll be somewhere pretty close to you, actually, in the launch of the show. Ruben Gonzalez, a 4-time Olympian, and he's a big motivational speaker. He's spoken for 100 of the Fortune 500 companies, and he says, "Look, it's Olympic motivation. That's all it is." And and that gets him booked all over the place. So you have one key. One idea, and I can remember who you are. Unshakable drive. Man, I want to book you now.
I think you did.
Cool.
It has to do with, when everything in my life was gone, even my children, as we've talked about that, I did lose custody. Even that, you can crumple to the floor. Oh, I know what I say. You can be a victim of your history or the victor of your new story.
Come on. That'll preach.
You're going to take it?
That'll preach. The victim of your story or the victor.
No, the victim of your history.
Of your history. Or the victor of your new story. Wow.
There are lines like this in my book.
I'll bet there are. So, in fact, I do want to pull up one of those pages. I think I might still have that here somewhere. You don't have it handy, do you?
Of course I do. What novelist does not have her book handy?
Because I want, where is it? I want to have, it's somewhere in my email here. I want to hear the Officer Browning part, just because I'm that guy. Who doesn't want to hear about themselves? And that is me. So
I met you in April when I was finishing the book and did not have names.
Oh, that's funny. So you were like, okay, when you were writing the book, you outlined, you did the story, then well, there's going to be an officer for this and a person for that, but you didn't have all, because there's a lot of names that go into books. I always think about that. Where did they come up with these names?
Right. And I did, people who impressed me.
Wow. And we made the cut, huh?
Made the cut. So did Pat Wally and Craig Duswald. He's a
I love officer. Pat. I love Craig.
Yeah, they're police officers.
That is so good. All right. So you sent me this one, and then Officer Browning said that was pretty funny. And then, but it was the second page that I died laughing. I thought that was so funny. Let me see if I can find that. I know we're all live right now. You know what? The image isn't showing. Dang it.
Tell me what you want.
The other one, when you talked about like the piercing blue eyes or something like that, sure. I thought that was just
Officer
hilarious.
Browning, a handsome man with piercing blue eyes, came up to the front and escorted Alex, who's the main character, back to a small office with two chairs.
So good.
I love this. Alex surveyed the soil-covered chair. She decided on the faded blue chair for absolutely no reason. She sat down and looked at the officer.
When you write a story like this, where does the inspiration come from? I know you're a certified medical examiner, so there's
qualified.
Would I be right? Qualified medical examiner. So being an ME, would I assume correctly that you've seen some stuff that a lot of people don't see and isn't always great, and you just go, well, you know what? You come up with a story based on that.
Oh no! My work,
nothing whatsoever.
Nothing whatsoever. I don't examine dead people, corpses. What I do is I shouldn't say that. I'm the one who the insurance company and attorney agree on me to examine the patient.
Oh, and this is probably what landed you into with examining for the Judge Judy when you were on Judge Judy as a consultant.
I had spoken to chiropractors on how to rate patients very, very, very boring speech. And someone
So much
heard
fun.
me and knew that Judge Judy was looking for an expert and asked if I wanted to do it. And I said, sure, why not? That's
That
the
is so
thing
awesome.
to tell everybody.
Wow.
Whenever you're asked to speak or do anything, do it.
That's something. I think this would actually be a good quick topic. What's your take on setting up your life the way you want it with boundaries compared to hustle, grind, say yes to everything? And here's what I mean is I feel like early on, we certainly, right, in business and in speaking, we say yes to everything. And there does come a time when you begin to learn to say yes and no. What's your journey been like on that? Do you say yes to everything? Do you say no to things? And if so, why?
Well, that's critical for setting up a speaking tour. You have to decide where you're going, as I've said so many times, but even if you're doing it, go on the plane, go back home, which I did not want to do. You have to make a decision that this is where I'm going. And if it works, great. If it doesn't, like I was scheduled to speak in Hartford, actually, on this RV trip. And then the founder of the company decided she was going to speak that time. So I said, okay, I'll come in October or something. You can't do everything, and you have to pick and choose what is going to work best for you and, of course, your audience. Hello? Hello?
Oh no, I just hit a button. Sorry about
Oh,
that.
okay. Oh,
Hang on
thank
a
goodness it
second.
was you.
Yeah, no problem. All right, Justin, 21 minutes, cut this out. So I remember early in my speaking career, it was like 2006, I really started. I mean, if someone said, do you want to speak to a bowl of hamsters? I'm like, look, I'm in, or whatever I need to do. Do you need me to drive to New York? I'm fine. It would be so great. And now I find myself almost really having to balance that, how long do I want to be away from home? How long do I want to be gone? Do you have any boundaries in general that you set up or rules that you set up with your family, with your husband? Like, hey, I'm going to be home a certain amount of time, or if this kind of opportunity I say yes to, but a certain size I might say no to, or some people maybe initially they speak for free and then they move only into keynotes, or they, whatever it is, right? Like, do you have anything like that is a guiding force for you?
Well, this time, my goal, my key is to raise funds for this organization, Child Rescue. So
Yeah, tell me about that, because you're donating author proceeds to Child Rescue.
25%, right. And
That's awesome.
we have an agent who's representing the book to movie on this one. So I'm hoping we're going to get so much money for Child Rescue from this movie. I'm so excited.
Well, and it sounds like the perfect novel to turn into a movie at any rate. So tell me a little bit about Child Rescue and why you love them so much.
Okay, Child Rescue. My son told me he was on the board of Child Rescue, which is an organization that goes in and rescues the trafficked children and then rehabilitates them. They have trained law enforcement officials, and it's just an amazing organization where they're going in. I mean, you can't imagine how many police officers I spoke to before writing this book.
I can't imagine.
I know. And one of them was Officer Bronning.
Come on. How many do you think? Give me a ballpark.
Oh, I've probably put in about 20 hours speaking to police officers.
Just police officers.
Only police officers about this.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying, what's so important is that, my speaking career, let me tell you, got started on a lark with this. I went into Working Wardrobes, which is a wonderful organization, and said to the woman, look, if we can use your facility, I'll have a meeting here and you'll get maybe $800 or something like that. So she said, great. And we started talking, and she said, but I want you to be my keynote speaker. I said, what? I was not a speaker then. So I spoke. We raised $1,000 for working wardrobes. And I decided, this is by my selling my books, this is a great way to raise money for a worthy cause.
I love that. So you're able to do that. And you know what's neat is there's something special about books, authors and books in particular that that you've chosen to do that with. My book, Firebox Principle. Everyone, well, I don't know if everyone in this audience knows that yet because this is a fairly new podcast. But I decided to connect with the Burn Institute of San Diego to help send burn survivor kids to burn camp. Because when I was 9, I went to burn camp. It's called Beyond the Scars, and it's a place where burn survivor kids with scars can just be kids again because everyone's there playing. That's really cool. It takes $1,000 to send a kid to camp, and we're donating author proceeds to the Burn Institute. And so far in 2018, through the book and our seminars, we sent 11 kids to burn camp.
Wow.
And it's just, there's no better feeling, than it's like, man, this really isn't about me. It's like, yeah, there's going to be benefit, and sure, I'm doing this for business and for more opportunities and this and that. But it's like, if we don't have that deep, compelling purpose of, listen, there's a massive impact beyond just the sphere of who I'm in front of right now. Like, that gets me up in the morning to say, man, I'm willing to go fly to wherever, to Roanoke, Virginia, to go on NBC so I can, plug the book, and because that's going to generate, maybe get a kid to camp. And it's like, that really helps me get through the airport.
Well, yeah. And they have estimated that it takes $1,800 to go in and rescue one child and save just one child. So that's my mark. My goal is how many children.
That's awesome. We need more people like you for sure, Carol.
Well, it's my son who is on the board that got me, to see this potential.
Hey, you made him, so let's take credit.
Oh, okay, I did.
So let's pivot a little bit and switch gears.
Sure.
I want to talk about you as the International Association of Women, the IAW chapter president. If you're not familiar with IAW, tell us a little bit about what International Association of Women is, and then I don't know, maybe roughly how many chapters are there nationwide, and we'll go from there.
Sure. Star Jones is the figurehead. And within 10 years, she took it from 0 to 1 million women. It's international.
1 million women are part of IAW. Oh my gosh.
I know. It's amazing.
I didn't realize it was that large.
Yeah, our chapter alone has 2,000. And what we do is it's a networking group. And as president, my goal is to make sure, like I told people at the meeting on Monday, we are not looking for you to join this group. We are looking to form a community. And I believe networking is so important, and so important for our business, for our self. As a matter of fact, that's what I used a women's group in my book and their First Friday book club, and how the importance of connection, it cannot be overlooked.
And who is the group for? Is it for entrepreneurial women, or is it for like what are or just any woman in general? Who is part of this? And then tell me about kind of the chapter setup.
Sure. It is not only for entrepreneurial women at all. Other organizations, like eWomen, are mostly for entrepreneurs. This companies buy memberships for their employees. We do have a lot of entrepreneurs. Our meetings are so dynamic and wonderful. And what we do at least at my meeting is I make sure that there are 2 rounds of networking, so the people can go to a smaller group. And by the way, I don't allow more than 50 people. We purposely have a small room, and we cut off the registration.
So you cap it at 50 people.
We cap it because we want to be able to see faces. Otherwise, it just gets it gets too diluted.
Sure. And that can be fairly normal for a chapter somewhere in that range. Some chapters are very, very small, but 50 is a really great number where you get to see the people. And as a speaker, when we go into a chapter that size, I mean, that's a great size room to connect with, network with, to build leads, whatever you're doing. I think that's a great thing. How long does your meeting go?
Our meeting is exactly 2 hours because we are at the most amazing center club, and our fee is ridiculous, and they give us the room at the center club, which is usually a $4,000 room, for free because my vice president is a member and she has negotiated this fabulous venue for us.
That's
I mean, we
great.
do have to pay for the food, each person has
And
to
is
pay.
is it a lunch or is it a dinner?
It is appetizers, and each person has to pay $25 for.
Oh, I love that. What a cool concept. So, hey, if you're listening and you actually are, because I know a lot of people that I'm having on this show too, they're, obviously they're listeners, loyal listeners. If you're a promoter or you run a chapter, that's a great idea, because instead of being like a lunch and learn or luncheon or that sort of thing, or over a dinner, you get to eat something. It's pretty normal to have a fee and you have food and everything, but I love appetizers. So you get to network. You said you do 2 rounds of networking, and then you usually have some kind of a keynote, right?
And then we have a keynote. We do have a raffle for a charity each year. Each year we've given over $1,000. Well, last year we only hit 800, but we usually strive to give $1,000 to our charity.
That's great.
In addition to, whatever else is going on. So we have that as as our mission, so to speak.
And as we wind down here just a little bit, I want to kind of leave with the advice. So if you're a speaker listening, this is like kick in. This is the last few minutes. This is really important. If you want to connect with an IAW chapter, so check it out. International Association of Women. There's chapters all over. International, like Carol said, 1 million members. How long does a keynote speaker go? And what would you like? I know for you personally, you don't need to share all your details, but in general, like what does a chapter look for in a speaker? What can we bring to the table? So do they want help in promoting? Do they want someone that's more prominent name? Are they looking for someone who's charismatic and just powerful? Like, what's the top qualities you're looking for? And what would make you book a speaker?
Well, we're supposed to go through Speaker Hub, which is a free site, and I'd suggest speakers check that out and fill out the forms. I was
That's
overwhelmed.
Great. Speaker Hub.
I was overwhelmed by the forms. They want to know the date you graduated from college, the date you got your master's.
Oh, that's easy. I got none of those.
Oh, okay. It was hard for me.
Well, not all of us are as educated and brilliant, but so you're supposed to go through Speaker Hub, but what realistically, like, I don't know, can you share a secret? What do you tend to do, or what are some of the colleagues tend to really do?
I think that the real important aspect is to go to a meeting if it's in your area and connect with the president or the vice president of that chapter. Yes. I think that's really a key, if that's doable. If you're near an area, you go to a chapter before requesting to be a speaker, if that's possible. If not,
that's a great idea.
Fabulous one sheet. Have a fabulous,
So what makes a fabulous one sheet? If I sent you a fabulous one sheet, is it visually appealing? Does it have hot, sexy titles for things? Does it, like, what makes you go, oh, okay, I'll take a look at this. What do you think it is?
I think it's the takeaways. I have to say that would be my personal prejudice. What are you striving for the people to take away from listening to you? Almost more so than, I talk about, I'll make you into the greatest fashion designer possible or whatever. I think it's the takeaways. What are people going to leave feeling?
Yeah, we talk a lot lately in the speaking world about tangible results, and where it's not good enough today's day and age to put on a multi-day seminar and say, it's amazing, you're going to experience all this
Right.
great stuff. It's like, no, you're going to come here and you're going to walk away with blank. You're going to have this takeaway. And it's like, yeah, the more tangible, the more real, the better. So make sure you have a one sheet. Make sure you have great takeaways. Submit that. Attend if you can, certainly. And what kinds of speakers would IAW be looking for? Is it all genres? Is it business? Is it motivational? What kinds of things make you pop?
Well, I just want to say, like, when I say the tangible, the feeling, like, I wrote this book about a child who's abducted, but what I really wanted from the book was to have people look at their child with a new appreciation. Like the father says, when he looked at her like she was sunlight, and to him she was. So it's
Wow.
what? Thank you.
And that's a great line. That's a line in the book, of course.
Of course, but what I'm saying
That's
is
beautiful.
it's what people are going to, wind up learning, knowing, doing. So is it for entrepreneurs only, business people? No, but I try to vary my calendar. Remember I told you that when I was doing my speaking calendar, in other words, the people who were speaking, rather, I wanted a coach one month, a fashion designer another month. I mean, we want to give the people variety.
So you do want some variety. I like that. That's good. All right.
You
So
might
you
have the
don't
best topic, but it's last month we did that. Don't be discouraged. Take your unshakable drive and go from chapter to chapter.
take your unshakable drive. All right. So listen, we're going to, as we're winding down right now, I know we've gone a little bit over. Thank you for the time, Carol. You've been so awesome. No, you've been so gracious with your time. I appreciate it. Guys, I hope, again, if you're listening to this all the way through, this show is really meant to be a resource for you that how many takeaways do we already have from Carol? It's like, if nothing else, if you don't have a one sheet yet, get one. If you have one, work on it and get those takeaways to be really clear. If there's a chapter in your area, go to the chapter, get to know the person, meet them. There's so much in there, and certainly I'm hoping that you should be checking out the International Association of Women. If you're a woman who would like to network and connect, and you're in Orange County, there might be room. You got to RSVP early because they do cut it off. But talk about a phenomenal place. I've gone to events and spoken at the Center Club right by the Performing Arts Center down there in Costa Mesa. I used to live in Costa Mesa. It really is a beautiful club. It's a phenomenal place. And I can't think of a better person to connect and network with than Dr. Carol Soloway. She's a genius. She's beautiful. She's amazing. And she's going to change your life. Before we wind down, Carol, tell me again, where can we find Gracie's Gone? And what do you want to say about it? What do you get out of the book? I love the frame. It's not about an abducted child. It's about looking at your own child with a brand new appreciation and really changing your heart even, or maybe changing your perception. What a cool way to present that. Anything you want to say about Gracie's Gone? You guys got to get it. Just get it. If nothing else, because I'm in it.
Right. You've got to read it for the amazing officer. What do I want to say? I want to say that I feel rather that once you are aware of what's going on in the world outside of your home, you will have such an amazing appreciation for, what do I say, the parents' most fervent desire is to, make sure your child is safe. Wouldn't you agree with that?
100%.
And when that's tenuous or taken away, your whole life is really destroyed. So it's looking at what we have with an appreciation and contributing to society so that these bad people don't continue doing and preying on, because the trafficking is a new commodity.
Well, and again, what a perfect and amazing charity to partner with, to help end child trafficking and to rescue these children. and coming off of, a fiction book along those lines. It's amazing. So guys, you can get Gracie's Gone from Dr. Carol Soloway. Get it on Amazon. I think it's like $15.99 for paperback, smoking deal, and it's still under ebook launch price, at least at the time we record this. So we'll have an Amazon link in the show notes. Go check it out. Grab the ebook for $1.99 if it's still there. If not, still get it no matter what the price is. Amazing. And then check out, we'll have a link there as well for the International Association of Women if you want to check that out. Carol, thank you for your time and your candor and your openness, sharing your secrets. We sure appreciate it. And I appreciate you. I can't wait to see you in the next month or so.
Sounds great.
All right. And don't forget, follow Dr. Carol Soloway on Facebook and Instagram. Shockingly, it'll be at Dr. Carol Soloway. Her website is carolsoloway.com. She is the chapter president for the International Association of Women for Orange County. She is a novelist, and she is on the road for her book tour all across the nation with her husband in the RV. What a cool story. Hope you learned something. I'm sure you did. I hope more than learning, I hope you will apply what you heard from this interview. And let's get back at it next week. Let's get out there and start speaking up. People need to hear you.